Welcome back to TRT World. A reminder now of our main stories. Supporters of former Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras are celebrating. Less than 40% of the votes have been counted, but the leader of the right-wing conservative New Democracy Party has just conceded defeat to the left-wing Syriza party. 13 refugees have died off the Turkish coast while trying to make their way to the Greek island of Lesbos. Turkish Coast Guard says their boat capsized after it was hit by a cargo vessel. And tens of thousands of Cubans gather in Havana to see Pope Francis hold Sunday Mass. He preached a message of global peace and reconciliation. All right, let's get more on our top story. Stephanos Ioannou is a student in London. He was eligible to vote in this year's second general elections in Greece, but he chose not to, even though he used to support the right-wing New Democracy Party. Stephanos, thank you very much for joining us now. Let's start off with, are you surprised by the initial unofficial results?
I wasn't surprised by Syriza and New Democracy coming up top two. That was destined to happen. But what I am surprised about is the rise of the Golden Dawn Party that has got somewhere in the region of 6%. I mean, the exit polls have come out, but we're not entirely sure of the results. But I'm very surprised by the Golden Dawn rise. I'm very surprised that PASOK did not get third place. And I'm actually very surprised that the rebellions MPs of Syriza that have set up the party like Nodida, Popular Unity, have not actually come into government. But this is classic Greek politics. New Democracy and Syriza, and we just have to wait and see, because he hasn't got a majority, and we have to wait who Tsipras is going to do a coalition with.
Okay, I mean, but let's get to the fact that, I mean, why didn't you vote this time around?
I didn't vote because I've seen this too many times. The Greek people have seen this too many times. We invested our trust in PASOK at one point, and then in New Democracy at one point, and now it's Syriza. Syriza, what they have done, which they really did wrong, was that they went out and they got the mandate on the basis that they went and said no to a new bailout. And now they've gone and said yes. Now, you see, the Greek people, they immediately associate that with New Democracy and PASOK, which were following the status quo of within Europe, continue the bailouts, continue the good relations with Europe. Alexis Tsipras was put in to say no, to put a stand for Greek people. And what made me in particular not vote was that New Democracy leader Mimerakis went and said that he was essentially opening his arms to a left-wing Syriza government. Now, as a conservative, I can't understand why a right-winger would go and work with a left-winger. This completely defeats the object of our conservative values. And at the same time, I don't understand how this would work in practice with our differing views.
Right, well, fair enough. Explain this to me. Alexis Tsipras had a campaign on one thing, and he's basically abandoned that in the last several months. Keeping that in mind, how does that the leader of a party only lose what looks to be only 4 seats in parliament?
This is exactly the thing. I struggle to understand why the Greek public have actually voted him again. In fact, we shouldn't be working for anyone. We shouldn't be voting for anyone. I think this reinforces my opinion that Greek politicians at this moment in time are amateurs. They are not suitable to govern. How can it be a person that went and said no, petitioned so hard, had his heart and soul to go and say no, at the end goes and says yes? This is completely absurd. This should not be happening in practice. I really can understand, but at the same time, we also must bear in mind this thing. Greece, at this moment in time, is seeing, and I believe until 1946, the lowest turnout in the electorate. So I think this is reflected by the fact that the Greek people cannot invest their trust in anyone and simply don't care.
Do you think that Alexis Tsipras is on a slippery slope in terms of popularity and support? Because once the third bailout comes into effect, the Greek people will likely feel very strong measures.
Oh yeah, austerity has taken its toll, but at the same time, let's bear in mind that the Syriza government has been a little bit more lenient on what is accepted in terms of austerity in comparison to the New Democracy PASOK coalition that was before. But at the same time, I was reading through the details, and the new bailout that we actually signed is actually worse than we would have got if we just said yes in the first place. So what we've seen is a referendum that took time, that took money, that paused the country, And now what we have is now another election to pause the country again. And this is a blow for international relations that have once again paused. The economy has paused again. And at the same time, Greece is facing a crisis economically, politically, immigration. And also the biggest problem, the untold one, is the one that the Greek population that are young, that are working, that are entrepreneurs are actually leaving Greece and are going and setting up businesses abroad, going working abroad.
Stephanos Ioannou, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you for that analysis. To Turkey now, and more than 100,000 people have gathered for an anti-terror rally in Istanbul. It comes in response to the deteriorating security situation in the southeast of the country. Turkey has been witnessing daily violence since the ceasefire